It was.
How do I stop his camera? You know.
And it's oh yeah, now you don't know to do it.
I don't know button anymore.
It was more or less the Todd McFarlane era.
Hey, look, I can hit the mute button and shut him up.
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
All right.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Actually, this is good because I want to make an announcement, but we don't need to run that anymore.
Oh, yeah? Thank God, because I hate that.
Yeah, because we now have an editor.
Yeah, boy. Can we talk about that very briefly?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that very briefly? What prompted it, where you guys are at, where your headspace was at by saying, hey, we want an editor?
Well, Matteo raised some good points as we were getting off the ground. Like, I've been doing this for a while, and I've never had, like, a large viewership. And I haven't, I used to try to like, promote it and stuff, but I just never saw many results from it. And once we went to video, I don't know editing so well, so I didn't even know how to take, like, clips from what we had filmed and format it for a phone and all that. And Matteo brought some good points because we both follow comedians who are podcasters and their podcasts are very successful and popular, and we're looking at what they do. And Matteo was like, "Hey, we need some social media clips, and it'd be funny if we did this." I mean, we've been talking about it on the show, like, what if we went to black and white right here? And it just, and then it was the interview with Sia. I was like, we have some work to do.
Also, all due credit, okay? Matteo is I love the way Matteo's brain works. It's number one, it's really like, obviously we're hanging out, we're having fun, we're all catching up. But I like the way that Matteo always introduces things like, hey, here's how we can optimize this, here's how here's what and you've seen it too, Shawn. So do credit to you as well. Like, you guys have seen, like, here's what works for us, here's the kind of stuff that we watch, and here's what we really know, like, attracts my attention, and maybe we can find our version of that and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of cool, So Matteo brought that up. You guys were aligned, and you said, hey, let's give it a try. It took a little while to find this editor. And one of the first things that, I don't know if we're allowed to mention it by name, so we'll run it by them first, but
I already did, though.
All right, you did.
Well, he's editing it, so he can bleep it. But I think Jamie texted me earlier. He is on
By the way,
Cloud9
is Jamie from the Joe Rogan podcast. It's the same Jamie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
You agreed on doing ours. He's just
Scottish
doing Joe Rogan and us now. So.
The only reason we can afford him is because of all of the mainstream comic book money that fucking Matteo is paying the guy. It's Joe Rogan and us.
Yeah. Also, all the views that we're making. I mean, we're starting to making serious money with the show.
Listen, man. Jokes aside, I give you such a hard time for when you came on, but for me personally speaking, I love that when all three of us are on. The chemistry is completely cool by me, and the uptick in viewership, it coincided when you came on, so that's got to speak for something.
Yep, I agree. Are you guys hearing that lag?
I am hearing that lag. That might be on Maddie's side.
It is on Maddie's side.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's on me. I mean, I can't hear it,
That's
so
all right,
probably me.
We're sitting here praising how much you've brought to the podcast. At the same time, you're ruining it.
There's only so much. There's only so much his internet can handle.
Yeah, the problem, when you came here and visited me and saw my studio, that beautiful, how do you call it? That road that takes to my place with trees and everything. That's the main problem. Like the fiber can get to this area, so I don't have high speed internet here. That's the
with all your double up successes, why haven't you paid for someone to lay down the fiber?
Well, the problem is that I can do it but nobody's gonna be all the court that I live in at this area. We're like seven families living here. Nobody's gonna agree on doing paying for the job because they don't really need it. And then so I'm gonna be the one spending money, a lot of money, because it's a lot. Like it's a long driveway to the
Yeah,
whole thing.
yeah.
So I'm gonna spend in a ton of money, and then everybody, might as well, they're gonna use it to have fiber in their houses as well. So I
Meanwhile,
don't.
they're all fans of this
I-
podcast and they're listening, just waiting for Matteo to upgrade their internet.
Listen, by the way, we're trying on top. The thing that Jamie asked came in and said, so Matteo and Shawn said, let's upgrade this thing to an aesthetic that we like. The things that will potentially, probably 100% is going to bring in more viewership because of the level of polish that we're aspiring to. You guys found an editor and you said, bro, hook this up, make this look as pretty as possible, right?
Yeah, but it's more than
And-
that, because Jamie
Go ahead.
he works in podcasting. He's
Yeah.
like, that's his full-time job, editing
Yeah.
podcasts. But
Yeah.
he also understands everything from the thumbnail to the title. I mean, I spoke with him all day yesterday about how to title these things, the thumbnail titles he's choosing.
How to write in English.
And I also
You made some typos and stuff. So yeah.
You spell check.
and you guys just derailed my train of thought.
No, go
by
ahead.
the
You
way,
were talking
sorry,
to him all
Eric,
day yesterday.
Is it just me or your Eric is out of focus?
Am I?
That's
No.
just no, he's not. That's just the bad, like, what this program sees to do is when we're recording live, like, Matteo, you're just a blur. I can't see your eyes at all. But
Oh, okay.
that's just the program. But what's being recorded that the audience will see will be clear. Like mine is
Yeah.
crystal clear. Eric's is a little blurry, and Matteo, you're just a JPEG mess.
Well, listen, I
Which is
think let's
might be
get
better for
that
the
out of the
show.
way. Let's get to that in a second. Like what we're trying to do is we were continue your story and I'll supplement it, Shawn. Go ahead.
So
You reach
today
out-
I made Jamie a manager of my YouTube channel because he was asking me a bunch of questions about the analytics, which I don't even know how to read.
Yeah,
but
dude.
he said he can go in there and see like which episodes are performing at what time they perform. Then he can go see why, what's special about that time, and
Yeah.
then he can cut promos and intros based on that to make future episodes even better.
You've effectively become a full-time You've invested a ton into to becoming a full-time podcaster, Shawn.
Yeah, I realize that I've created this like 8-armed monster that is my life, where I have all these things I'm doing, from my artwork to the podcast to social media to instruction. And I'm just like, I reached a point earlier in this year, I was like, I can't, like, nothing I'm doing gets enough attention to make it work to the next level.
I get it.
And I built all of this with the idea in mind that if one starts functioning well, it's going to raise everything up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so getting Jamie on board has been really helpful. So yeah, this week's been a very busy week, but I feel like it's transitional because once Jamie's up and running and we have this like workflow we've established, like yesterday I gave Matteo the access again to the folder where we keep everything so he can grab stuff. I think once we hit our stride,
Yeah.
it'll be much
Yeah,
less
yeah.
work.
I mean, it's always like that in the beginning. You're trying to figure out. I mean, I spent the better part of yesterday and today trying to figure out this new app and whether or not. And then let me go back into what we were talking about, right? So we said, hey, let's make sure that this looks as polished as possible. So we had an extended conversation via text of what that means, right? Obviously the editing, but also we wanted to get out of StreamYard because it was just, based on Jamie's experience, based on what he knew, it was a lot easier for him to cut in and out of whomever it was that was talking. That was an interesting point of view. I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's do that. But in order to do that, he couldn't do it with StreamYard because StreamYard had all three of our images all up at the same time. The resolution wasn't very high, so let's try to figure out a way around it. So I did a little bit of research. Actually, I had done research previously, and this was already sort of in my research folder. And by this, I mean this online app called Riverside. So I said, hey, let's try to make it so that let's see what we can get away with by investing very little up front. I already do not like the fact that this thing is like turning Matteo into what looks like a weird, Photoshop 1995 painting, you know?
He looks like the demons in Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, for sure. Like I can't see half his face or whatever it is. And it's also contingent upon his local internet. And he just got through, talking about it for a few minutes that it's suboptimal and just the nature of the way he's being, the nature of the way this thing works. And I don't want to get into it, but like I said, it's just suboptimal. It's underwhelming. So, I think it's a matter of like, hey, let's go now invest in more local hardware as opposed to cloud software, right? And I think that's going to be the next step. We'll see how this all works out. You want my temperature take right now? I don't particularly care for it, so I think it's a matter of
I'm leaning to where you are, and I'm happy to get that Rhodes little board if that's where you want to go.
Oh yeah. I think it's that's the way to go, right? Just and then so anyway, I really appreciate where you guys have taken this, and so. When you guys were talking back and forth about how to upgrade everything, I was like, damn, these guys' brains are so honed in to like how to really make this thing look as polished as possible, not the least of which bringing in an editor and really having an extended conversation. So I thought, like, what can I do on my end to bring to the process? Not just obviously doing a little bit of research, but what can I do in order to, like, add a little bit of more polish or at the very least, add a little bit more entertainment value. And so I wanted to run something by. No. I think there is. I want to run it by you guys first and foremost and see how it feels. So I did this thing where I reached out. Well, I didn't personally reach out. I put out like a couple of like potential. This beta, by the way, we're going to test this thing out. I reached out to a handful of fans from the show, or at least potential fans from the show, and I said, hey, come in, ask us questions, and we're happy to answer whatever it may be, because I thought maybe that's a level of engagement that we didn't get before, and I thought I could bring that to the table. So here we go.
Awesome.
We'll see if it's awesome.
Hold on one sec. One sec. Eric, this is one thing Jamie asked us. I was going to ask you guys today. He asked if we could do a podcast where we let people ask us questions beforehand and we answer them on screen. So this is perfect.
Well, that's awesome. Well, like I said, this is beta. Let's see how this works out. And let me see if this works.
Ask stupid questions, get stupid answers from the boys on the Inkpulp podcast.
That is awesome.
Like I said, I'm trying that out, seeing how it feels. I don't know if that's even fucking on brand for what you guys are going for. We're just testing it out in as much as we're testing out this stupid,
That was awesome.
Right. So, I got a couple. I don't know. I just kind of hit the go button on the recording. So we got one, right? And as soon as this goes out, I'm going to guess that we're going to get more people coming in and asking.
So wait, is this live right now?
No, I don't think so. No. I did it ahead of time, ahead of you guys, and I said like, hey, let's, I'm going to surprise the guys with this. If anybody calls in, obviously we'll bring him in. So we got the one guy asking questions. So
by the way, Shawn, what a fucking stupid question is this live? We're recording. You dumb?
No. What I mean is, are there people asking questions live? Because Eric said
no. We're just recording, Shawn. I didn't want. I wanted to spring it on you guys.
Because if Eric put it out on Twitter, he could be getting emails right now with questions. Motherfucker.
Okay. All right, listen. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Here we go. Like I said, I put feelers out there. Of the feelers that I got the one guy. I got one person calling in. I don't know if I heard this all the way through. Oh, this is cool. Let me put it on the show. So here we go. You guys pay attention.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I just wanted to call and say, Matteo, you're a great artist. You're one of my favorites. Shawn, you're a fountain full of knowledge. And I don't know why you bother inviting Eric on the show. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, who was your top influence when you were growing up as a kid and trying to get better as an artist? Thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys later.
Recorded directly from the train station.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was very awesome.
All right, first
Eric, explain to me what's going on here. Where did you put out the call for questions?
Listen to me. This is that was really painful to think about. Like, first of all, the thing says, ask stupid questions, get stupid answers. And that wasn't a stupid question, right? You
No,
know,
but we're
I need to,
dum-dums, so
I
the answers
need
are
to
gonna be
have
stupid.
them, I need to have them say their names because I need to be able to call them out for asking, for not even going with the theme of the fucking thing, you know? Second of all, he stumbled through your name, Matteo. I don't know what he said, but you know,
I didn't even
That
hear my
was-
name. So
yeah, I think so. Well, listen, we're going to listen to it again in the very beginning.
Eric, is that you?
Hold on, listen.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I just wanted to call and say, Material, you're a great artist. You're one of my
Calls you
favorites.
Material.
Shawn, you're a fountain full of knowledge. And
I'm still
I
asking
don't know why you
myself.
bother inviting Eric on the show.
Yuri.
Anyway,
goes-
I wanted to ask you,
Like, I'm the guy.
who was your top influence when you were growing up as a kid and trying to get better as an artist? Thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys later.
Material, what up, dude?
Material and Yurik.
Fucking A, this guy.
I'm still
We get the-
I'm still on the verge of this one. I think this is a joke.
Yeah,
But-
that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
No, you don't see the fucking value of opening it up to people and chit chatting with them.
No, I do. That just sounds
Cassandra's
like
dad?
Who is it?
Cassandra's father? Did you ask him to do
Yeah,
this?
I asked my father-in-law to come in and be like, "Hey, ask something stupid."
Or so was the question
that's-
for everyone or just for Shawn?
I think it's
no,
to
it's for
everybody.
everyone.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Matteo, you go ahead. Take it.
Oh, okay. So I'll keep it pretty general. This is in general what I answered when I get this question. One of the cool things about living in Italy is that we have despite the fact that we're a really small country, we have a really big comic books culture in general. So I had the fortune to grow up and be able to read a lot of different things. So I can't point out a single inspiration, but in general, I would name like specific books, which were the books that I read first when I was really young, like in the 90s, when you guys were already like 30 or 40 years old. And
Eric,
so
can
it
you
was
mute people and disappear on this one?
it was
Yeah, how do we stop his
Italian,
fucking camera? You know,
an Italian. Oh yeah, now you don't know to do it.
I don't know the fucking button anymore, man.
What? Plus, if you start talking, they still cannot see me on YouTube because now we focus on single people that are talking, so you can't do that anymore. Your powers are gone. So I was saying, I think Dylan Dog was one of the books that I used to read, and I remember I had to read it kind of secretly because there's a lot of sex and horror and death and blood in those books. So my parents didn't know at first that I was reading them. It was really little when I started reading them. So on one end there's Dylan Dog, which has there's a lot of really good artists working on that book. And then I remember it was Spider-Man. On the American side, comic books. I remember Spider-Man and I think X-Men. It was Spider-Man. It was more or less the Todd McFarlane era.
Hey, look, I can hit the fucking mute button and shut him up. All right. Sorry. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Todd
It was the McFarlane run. And then and Jim Lee on the X-Men. And then on the Japanese side, I would read manga. And back then we had the comic book, the manga version of Saint Seiya. I don't know if you're familiar Like in Italy, it's way more popular as a anime, as a cartoon than as a comic book. But it's I don't know. Translated in English is like the Knights of the Zodiac. It's just young kids that wear armors, and each one is represented by a constellation. So there's a main group of guys, and they have to fight other knights, other evil knights and stuff like that. So I had like my inspiration in general. There was a lot of diversity in it, and I think it shows in my stuff. I mean, you can't really pick a specific style in there. There's a little bit of Argentinian, Italian school, some manga stuff, especially on the on the storytelling side, and also American comic books for the action scenes and stuff. All right, that's my 2 cents.
That's a good
Your
answer.
turn, Shawn.
So I got into comic books late. And the first comic book handed to me was Dark Knight Returns. That blew my little 15-year-old mind completely away. So Klaus and Frank got in there. From there, I went to a comic book shop and I saw Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, before he went and did his own book. And I saw Born Again, which was Frank Miller again, but Mazzucchelli drawing. Bought those home, fell in love with the medium, fell in love with Frank, Dave, and McFarlane, and from there went back to the comic store, and that's when I got Mark Silvestri's Uncanny X-Men and Rick Leonardi's stuff in that same book. And those two, they rocked my world. From there, a little later, I discovered Heavy Metal Magazine, which opened me up to a whole new world of visual awesomeness. And I'd say the first artist I really responded to was an artist named Peary. And he had in Heavy Metal Magazine his Lorna series, and that was like everything. It just felt like me. Like I grew up loving animation and graffiti art, and I think everything I've just said kind of you can see where I come from all of that stuff. So those are my early inspirations.
Oh, can I also add?
Good job, kids.
On and go more specific? It's stuff that I said earlier, but. In particular, of the McFarlane's run on Spider-Man, there was a specific story. I don't know. It came out in Italy as a one-shot, like a TPB. I don't know if it was part of the main of the regular series or not, but it was a specific story called Torment with Spider-Man versus
That was his
Lizard
own book. Yeah,
and
that was
this voodoo girl. That
Yep.
and Craven, the hunter.
That's when he left Amazing Spider-Man and went and did his own book. So he wrote that too.
Okay, so that I remember like reading it. I don't know how many. I would say
Yeah, I
hundreds
loved
of
it.
times.
I
Like
loved it.
that book is. I probably still have it here on my bookshelves, and
That's
it's
awesome.
like consumed for.
I
how
still
many
have
times I've read it. Yeah.
I still have my first copy of Born Again and Dark
Yeah.
Knight Returns.
And I remember like one thing that I loved, and I try to have the same thing if I had to think about a story of mine. I remember that each chapter started with the same sentence. We're gonna rise above it all or something. I mean, I remember the Italian phrase. I don't know how the English phrase was. But I remember, I like this thing that every chapter starts with the same thing. And
Yeah,
so I like,
yeah.
the fact that there's a theme and stuff like that. So I think that influenced me a lot when it comes to storytelling and what I
Along
like.
those lines, it was the same thing with Born Again, where every chapter started with the splash page that was the same. It was one of Matt Murdock laying in the alley, one of Matt Murdock laying in the same position in like the church with the nuns around him, and they kept doing that. And I remember catching on to that early, like there, it just like made me feel like there's so much going on here.
Yep. How about you, Eric?
I lost track of the conversation. What are you guys talking about?
We're answering
fuck
the
off.
question.
Oh,
Actually, I
no.
got to be honest. I was waiting for Matteo to say my biggest inspiration is an artist from Italy. His name is Matteo Scalera.
The cool thing is that he's being genuine towards this freaking question, which is I think I was hoping that you guys would get more jokey about it, but nope, you guys were totally fucking serious, which is amazing.
Well, the question was serious. So the whole slogan is you ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer, but the stupid question wasn't asked.
That was
So
my
you
point.
don't get
That
the
was my
stupid
point. Was
answer.
like, yeah. Okay,
I
all right,
think,
you guys.
yeah, I
But
love
no more
the
serious
intro, the
questions,
little
please.
jingle.
Yeah.
No,
No
I
more
like
serious
both.
questions.
I think a mix is good.
All right, ask the questions. The serious questions to Shawn. Ask the stupid questions to me and Maddie, because Matteo gets way too deep.
The reason I think it's good is because one thing I don't see enough of, like we just lost John Romita Sr., right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
And I don't know about
Oh fuck, Shawn's just gonna drive this bus.
black
Matteo,
and white.
get ready.
Jamie.
Put on your seatbelt. Here it
Black
goes.
and white screen, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark the minute and the second. Okay, so we can find it.
Just make it just collapse like a black
Yeah.
iris.
I was just
going
gonna
right
say
in-
he's a legend in this in superhero comics.
That's what you meant to say, but how did you open it? Do you recall?
We just lost
John Romita Jr. I mean John Romita Sr. Everything is awful. Just
guys are the
Jamie,
worst.
just have Eeyore come across the screen from fucking Winnie the
Bro,
Pooh.
you guys are branding this, attaching this brand.
You guys.
Let's have
there
Piglet
is
run
no
across the screen.
joy.
Oh, by the way, Eric didn't answer. So I'm gonna just show you something, and that's his main inspiration in life.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm glad that this thing is super blurry.
Oh, by the way, let me plug something. The hardcover for my Mr. Freeze story just came out. So if you want to get it in the
Wait,
live
is it the hardcover of
edition-
just
yeah, this
yours?
is a
or-
hardcover. Yeah, it's really cool. And
Oh, man, I wanna
DC
get that.
also sent me a box that you can put all the One Bad Day stories, together. And so
Oh, like a slipcase?
yeah, slipcase, yeah. So that's it. So I answered for Eric. He didn't want to say because
I think we got our
Matteo-
intro clip. I think that's our
Matteo-
intro clip.
Mateo is my inspiration. I was pretty directionless for the better part of the 20 years that I was alive before he was born. And as soon as he shot out into the world covered with whatever it is that was inside with him, I suddenly felt the sunlight on my cheek. So thank you, Mateo. And thank you for
until
drawing
like
so early in your life.
1982, you couldn't feel. You felt inspired, but you didn't know by what.
No, that's
And then
wrong.
all of a
I felt
sudden,
no
one day-
inspiration.
One day,
In fact, the lighting, the beautiful warm lighting in Eric's
Yeah.
room is not the sun. He is surrounded by your comics.
Yeah.
And it's putting
Yeah.
a glow on him.
No, actually, Mateo shines. Mateo's inspiration shines so brightly. It's now just getting here from Italy. From yesterday, from earlier today. So it's barely arriving, and whoo, man, it's blinding. I can't look in there. Oh, I just hurt my eyes looking over there. I gotta lower the fucking curtain. Thank you for answering for me, Maddie. That's really amazing.
anytime, man.
All right, this thing crawled to a stop because I wasn't paying attention. I'm actually looking at how much this Road Streamer X is going to cost everybody. I'm trying to make sure that in Maddie's section of the world, it's available because it's a little bit harder getting stuff over to him. He lives in a really remote portion of Italy where there's like farmland left and right for 45, 50 minutes. And, we have to parachute everything to him. Thank God. Amazon has created those drone drops. He's got one of those little landing pads on his front lawn. And I hope that this
Sometimes
isn't.
my security.
I hope this thing isn't over 5 pounds. 5 pounds because it's not gonna. That's 3.5 kilos for you Europeans. But I hope that it doesn't cost way more than 6 pounds, 6 pounds plus, or else that drone's not gonna get to him.
Well, and sometimes we have laser automatic rifles like pointed here and there. So some Amazon drones get destroyed. As a security, you gotta be safe. So if it's too big of
Double
a
up
package,
Scalera,
they'll
got
catch it and just shoot it down. So
By the way, when I
Did
when
you
I say
notice,
it's 40 minutes, 45 minutes to get to his house, that's in all directions into his compound. He owns all of that acreage, all of that
Did
land.
you
the
notice
kilometers.
driving up all the scorched bodies of the fans that were trying to get to him that his laser security system had taken out?
No,
one at a
once I mean I was trying to look away because obviously that's none of my business. But I was mostly like at one point, and I realized, oh, please don't look for more. I saw one of his snipers in like a ghillie suit that looked exactly like the field that we were driving by, and he moved just so perfectly with the camo on his face, and I was like, I didn't see you, pal. I'm friendly. Let me get through. So Matteo,
good
good
thing
job.
you
That's
guys were
money well earned.
So, nothing happened to you, But if you're alone,
No, I was with you. You were driving. Yeah.
Yeah,
You-
yeah,
you
yeah.
were
They
invited,
recognized the car, they checked the plate and everything. So it's like, oh, they're good to go.
Yeah, yeah. And also, thank goodness we came at the earliest part of the day before any and all of them were drunk, because Italians, they start drinking at around 11:30, 11:35 in the morning. We got there at
Matteo-
9, so we were safe.
Is your security staff from Naples?
No. They will betray me immediately. Oh, by the way, I
At the
heard
drop of a hat.
yesterday. I have heard that episode. Probably there's gonna be people from Naples that are mad at me right now.
You've pissed
But
off an entire city.
One day,
the
one
Inkpulp
day, if you guys
podcast
want-
outlawed in Naples.
So if somebody asked me, okay, in the next roll of questions, the next group of questions, somebody will ask me gently to tell my first experience in Naples. I'll be happy to explain my first experience in Naples, and so you'll understand why I have some, there's stuff going on between me and Naples. So. It's been a fucking.
He wants
won't
to
even believe
explain to you in graphic detail why his bias towards people from Napoli it's so like at a 10, at a 20. He told us that night. I don't know if he's going to give you everything, but that's totally worth our time, I think.
Oh yeah, man.
All right, so how is this? This is doing all right. I'm looking at Matteo's thing and it's still stuck at 54%. I'm going to guess that I'm actually monitoring it from my end, which is a cool feature. The only thing that I was really truly looking for was just like how to to stop Matteo's camera, and it doesn't give me that functionality, and it's really fucking annoying. I feel like the power has been taken away from me. I can shut him up, but I can't make people not look at him.
Well, also if you do it now, even if you find a way. Like on the recording,
Yeah.
like it's gonna be nobody's gonna be understanding what's going on. They'll just hear
This is
you
true.
guys, laughing
This
for
is
no
true.
reason. So there's no point in doing it now, So
This is true, unless of course Jamie holds on to the spirit of what we're trying to do, as a good editor should, and just be like, kick that guy out. I mean, there's a button here for sure. I'm going to test it on you right now, so stand by. I'll bring you right back if this shit doesn't work. Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can just like kick you off. Nah, that's not worth. Because what if I can't bring you back? Then it'll just derail the whole
that
thing.
won't be cool. I'll tell you what we need to do
you're
is
killing the show if I go.
I don't know if I'll
our
end the
numbers
show.
will drop.
Man, you can see it. Jamie will be able to track it based on YouTube
Jamie will
analytics,
be
where the
able to
fucking thing
track
just falls to the
exact
ground.
moment when you find out that you're not gonna be able to bring me back, and then.
Yeah. That said, I'd be curious because when we had Sia on, that lady is on top of her social media as far as her YouTube analytics is concerned. Boy, she's got a good head on her shoulders for that kind of stuff. So it'd be interesting to understand just based on her experience and based on the research that she's done. Because if you listen to that episode, she's all about doing a ton of research. I couldn't just tell her, hey, show up and we're using StreamYard. Right. She had to go do 25 minutes worth of what StreamYard was all about and how to optimize for it and blah, blah, blah. But point is, I'd be interested to know, just based on her research, based on her history, when YouTube videos, if you get past a certain time, if you can keep audience retention past this, obviously Jamie's going to know this shit too. But after a certain time, boy, you're in good shape. If you can get them past 5 minutes, 10 minutes, boy, that's going to be freaking
I'm willing
amazing.
to bet our retention is great. That's one thing I know from my audio podcast. My retention was amazing. I just
Yeah.
didn't get enough eyes or ears on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the people that listened, they listened to it through and through.
Oh, for sure. Well, I think also it's, now that we potentially could, we have tools at our disposal that will help game that algorithm moving forward beyond the 20 people that you guys pay for, what the retention is going to be. You know what I mean? Like the actual real people, not YouTube, Italian YouTube bots that just like show up, conveniently when we need
The
those many
famous
people.
Italian YouTube bots. Were
Yeah, the
so
more
famous.
like
for their bots.
infamous.
We need a name for them. We need a name for those famous Italian YouTube bots.
All right, that's all. Everything
Maple
seems to
guys.
be working on my end. I mean, this is a good. We were okay to also give context on this. I'm glad that we're doing this ahead of time before we brought our guest on.
Yeah, me too.
You want to speak about that a little bit? We who are we bringing? Who's the
Today was
elevated, exalted gentleman that we were going to bring on?
Today was going to be the return of the great Tommy Lee Edwards, because Tommy's video game company, where he's the art director, wanted him to be more involved in like this world of podcasting. So they sent him a bunch of high-end podcasting equipment. So he wanted to give it a test run, and
Yeah,
it would be, I thought it'd be great here. But
I think we're the guy that he should do that test run.
and
test
he
run with,
will.
man.
We're going to reschedule. I'm just waiting because we're also trying to reschedule Jason Shawn. So I'm trying to see where Jason Shawn lands so I can know where to open up for Tommy.
Mhm.
But
I'm
he just
imagining
got back from
Tommy.
Heroes.
The first time he connects, he has like 2 microphones in his ears, and then he's talking through the earplugs and with a camera up his ass. It's like
Camera's on his
I don't
feet.
know. I don't understand why it's not working.
Mhm.
All right, thank goodness that you both are here because I'm checking all these buttons and I'm trying not to press something that'll shut this whole thing down because this is a quality episode.
But Tommy was at Heroes Con, and he caught the con crud, and so he was he's in bed. His voice is kind of fucked from a sore throat,
Well,
so that's why.
be
he
well
couldn't.
soon.
I guess
buddy.
we need to go to black and white there. I guess
Yeah,
that's
dude.
what I did.
Bringer of bad news.
On brand. On fucking brand. Oh, so here's one thing. If we continue down this, if we continue doing this high end stuff, right? I think both of you are going to need to start investing in, at the very least, like in-ear headphones, because that's what we're hearing in the background when we're talking, and it's coming
I've
through
got
Matteo's
some.
speaker. Yeah,
I've got
just-
some really good ones. I didn't know we should use them. I can use them.
It might be time, kids.
That's
It
fine.
might be
What?
time.
Like,
I've
what's
got
the
good ones.
usage for that?
So what's happening when you are when Shawn is talking and it's coming through your speakers?
Okay,
your
you have a
microphone
return.
is picking him up. Yeah, just a tiny bit, not a ton, but who knows? Depending on like what the quality of the audio is. Obviously, we want to give Jamie as much great footage as possible, and it's
Totally.
Annoying when there's somebody talking in the background a couple seconds later.
And Matteo,
Yeah.
there's an audio filter. I think it's about $60 that my friend Alan told me about that we can download. So our mic has the rich audio like Eric's.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, I think Matteo's got an XLR, right? Once he plugs it into this Rodecaster that I think we're going to all sort of invest in, that's all going to be solved.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, the processing on that unit is pretty dang formidable. Wait, you have a
All right.
USB, right?
Yeah, I'm USB. Yeah.
Okay, that might be a little. We might need to upgrade you to a new mic, buddy.
Are you not USB, Matteo?
No, I
Oh, so
specifically
that
got him
Rode
an
mic-
XLR.
Oh, I might have to get one of those Rode mics with the Rode board.
Yeah, this is USB-C.
Wait.
But then I have a
Just to make sure. Wait, no. Is there an XLR connection at the bottom of that? Teo, do you know? Like a circular connection like this?
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Where it
There's,
plugs into the computer. Is it a USB?
This is USB-C, but then I have a converter that makes it become a USB.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Because
I'm gonna look up
this computer is kind of old, so it still has
Yeah.
the
Gotcha,
traditional
gotcha.
USB ports. Very entertaining
think either
moment
way-
for the podcast, guys. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I mean, for all of you
Technical.
guys who are trying to get into this stupid thing and upgrading not just your equipment, but the quality of your freaking podcast. Look at all of the painful things that we're going through. We could have talked about this offline, but we chose to do it live with you guys because, nothing says awkward than to spend the next 5-10 minutes talking about how we're going to upgrade our equipment to things that are way too expensive. Can I tell you something? I remember when I brought that up to somebody and I said kind of like, hey, it doesn't take much for you to podcast, to basically do a stream in which you're recording yourself and potentially streaming it live to people just so you can bring in your audience, effectively the spirit of what you guys are talking about here. And then people started asking, well, what did you start off with, Eric? And that really did kind of make me go like, oh no, this is expensive. Like it's not in relative to what everybody else has, right? To like the high end, like look at Sia's setup, potentially what we're going to have, like
Right.
it's quote unquote inexpensive in context. But if you were just to try it on your own, there are some things in here that's, I'm like, oh, this is easily going to cost you on the cheaper end, like $200, maybe as much as $300, just so you have
Sure.
just so you have the kinds of things that you need in order to make this thing as optimal based on your budget. And $300 is nothing to sneeze at. For somebody who's just
Right,
starting out,
right.
that's a
Right.
great chunk of money. So I think I felt bad when
doubt.
I was explaining that to people and I was showing them my old equipment from LA. They were like, how much did everything cost? And I did a quick tally and I was like, oh, only about $300, as if that's like, oh, that's not a ton. It is not a ton compared to the setup that I have now. But in general, when you're first starting out, that's a pretty hefty investment.
Eric, I'm really glad you checked your privilege there.
Yeah, I do. I don't want I don't want our this amazing effort of a podcast, especially now that we're doing a transformative version of it, to get canceled right off the bat. I want us to get, until you say something really, really awful, I'm going to guess that it's you or Matteo, because Matteo has no
I'll
United
go
States
racist
filter.
for sure. Like in a couple of episodes.
100%. I really hope that you do. Let's get
the
it out of the way.
old Naples situation can get us there. Luckily, we never had, Naples people as slaves. So, there's not that kind of, thing. You can be kind of racist towards them. They're still Italians that we did nothing to them. But,
I seriously can't kick him out. I do not have the power to get rid of this guy because I'm going to need a majority of his footage for later. And I'm afraid that if I kick him, like what that'll do for the footage as far as like his uploading. So
Mateo's that kid where mom was like, don't touch the hot stove. And he's like, yeah.
No, actually, he doesn't do that. He points at the hot stove and calls it a racist slur.
He says that stove's from Naples.
Yeah, he's like, that must be from Napoli. That stove looks like it just doesn't understand how life works.
Now, Matteo,
All right, well, we're gonna work this
does
out later. You
pizza
guys find
come
something to
from
talk
Naples?
about.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm asking questions.
the story is that the pizza comes from Naples. So yeah. And you can tell in general in Italy how in this last few years, like now the original Naples pizza has become a big thing. Like now, if you have to open a new pizzeria in Italy, you have to make the original, which is the one with the thick crust all around it. It doesn't have to be thick, the whole pizza, just the crust. It has to be soft.
Just the edge.
And just the edge has to be, big but soft. And that's the original recipe of big but soft.
That was a fucking lob. If you were saying big and soft and Matteo was on the listening end, that is like an amazing setup for Matteo. And I knew, as soon as he said it, he was like, oh, I gotta, that's something that I would make a comment about,
For a moment, I wish it was you guys so that I can make a joke, a pun or something.
Yeah, no, you were ready for it. Actually,
Okay, let's role play, Matteo. Let's improv. I'll say big and
gotta go.
soft, and you take it. Big and soft.
Like your dick. Or there's well, but they can see it right now. Like Eric is out of this conversation. So Jamie, please put
Jamie.
a black
Yes.
a black screen.
Actually,
a
I think
Black
what we
Lives
need to
Matter
do is
screen, and
we need to do little cartoons of each other so that when something like this happens, Jamie can just pop up like a jokey little cartoon that one of us drew of someone else.
oh, what? No, I'm thinking about a nice joke, but it could be like because mine is softer as yours. Is that better?
I don't know what you just said. I have no idea what just happened.
All right,
Do you think we're
moving on.
This episode is good, right? Like we're 47 minutes in. We're okay. Can we call this one done?
we can call it, Eric? It's been very good.
No, it's just
everything
47 minutes. We still have 13.
He's gonna drag it in like beating a corpse.
Just fucking drag it out, man. You want to talk about losing audience? This is it. Let's make this 40. Let's add 13 more minutes to this.
No,
All right, Matteo.
I have a subject. Let's get serious for a moment. So,
really?
Black and white.
Really?
Black and white.
yeah, no, not that serious. Like not Shawn serious. It's
Not
Matteo
Shawn serious. Okay.
So
Okay,
we don't
that's
need the
cool.
black and white, Jamie. So
Sepia.
I'm kind of stuck with my with the book that I'm writing and drawing, and I want to I'm gonna describe the situation that I'm in right now, and then I gotta ask you what you think. So right now I finished the whole division in scenes of the whole book. And then I wrote all the dialogues for issue number 1, which is like a 36 pages, I think. So it's a big, thick issue. And I seem, I'm not being able to just start. Like I prepare all the sheets or all the paper pads and stuff. So everything is ready to go. I've done the character studies, but
You can't thumbnail?
I can't start. No, because the thumbnails are gonna be the actual pages, so I'm gonna be doing like starting immediately from.
All right. I think I know what your problem is. I think I know what your problem is.
So I can't start. Like I keep finding stuff that I have time to do, like a cover that's I need to do like in 2 months. I'm putting it up front just so that I don't have to start working on my book. So
All right. I have two ideas.
Okay.
One,
Uh-oh.
there's fear. There's a little fear in there, the hesitation to just jump in. That's the first thing. So that just means you need to grow a pair of balls and just do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
All right, Daddy.
Two.
Tell me more, Daddy.
Now you're turning me on.
Oh, and there's another guy who gets canceled. All right. This is going to be you, Eric, from now on.
All right, two. And this is because I've been wrestling with the same thing, Matteo. We're used to receiving scripts where everything's figured out and we can just jump to layouts. I think if you're just jumping to layouts, it's too big of a leap. What I plan on doing is they're not even layouts. They're just little quick scribbles so I can see the page layout and pacing and the general idea. So it's almost like a visual script where I'll have page 1 and then when I thumbnail, I can tweak and adjust everything. That it seems like for me, adding that stage is going to fill a gap that will let me move forward. That's just my 2 cents.
Eric, were you even listening at all, or just looking for new dildos?
Yeah, no. So the artist that influenced me the most when I was growing up was probably Paul Smith
asshole.
primarily, right? So when Paul I remember when I first collected my first X-Men book, it was actually a gift. When I first, like, I wasn't even buying X-Men at the time. I was like, I told this story already. I was like skipping church, and I was going to the local.
I'm taking
I
myself
was going
out
to a
from the show.
local Seven
Taking
Eleven,
myself out.
and I was trading with a guy. I used to buy those Betty and Veronica comics, and just on a trade, I traded him my very first X-Men book, which was an X-Men annual that had Alan Davis doing all the art. So I think that was the first sort of X-Men experience that I had. But then I started collecting it back. I started getting back issues, and it was Paul Smith. So I'd say the first person that ever influenced me to do, one of the first influences that made me want to draw comic books was Paul Smith from his X-Men run. Does that answer your question?
I have a pair of Paul Smith's shoes. I don't know if it matters if it's the same guy.
I don't think that's the same thing. I don't think that guy
you
drew
mean
comics.
Stan Smith? You have Stan Smith shoes?
No, it's
Paul Smith is a
called
designer
Paul Smith.
too.
It's a brand.
Oh, that guy with
We're
the monkey,
fancy
the
people,
monkey
so
guy?
I understand why you don't know that. The brand, but
Eric, he's out of control today.
What's the issue? You can't start your own shit. What's going
I don't know.
on?
I'm still, I keep waiting and waiting and waiting and farting. Finding.
What are you waiting for? What is the thing? What is like? Okay, let me ask you this.
Okay. Let me expand.
Wait. Let me ask this question first. First. Maybe you'll answer it. Maybe you don't. But shut up. So here's like, you were so enthusiastic, like nothing was stopping you at one point. You were an out of control juggernaut where you're like, Eric, I don't care. I'm just going to draw it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to blah. And like, as soon as the opportunity, like, I don't necessarily have a plan for printing, whatever it is that's in front of me. I'll know I'll be able to cross that hurdle. What happened between that version of momentum and like, here you are, you can't even do the thumbnails because, something is stopping you. What's the deal there?
I think like it's the expectation that I had for my, not so much for the quality of anything on a how do you call it, on working process method, of a working method that I had in my head.
No, I don't.
So,
explain that. What does that mean?
I told you various times that for every project that I do, I try to add a little something more, or I try new stuff. So my thing was I want to prepare, because usually I just dive in, Yeah. I rarely, like, maybe I take one day just to, look for inspirations / reference materials and stuff like that. But then I start right away, unless there's a specific character that I have to, create. Then, I take a couple days just to do the studies and everything. But in this case, I was planning on really having everything, set up and lots of studies and stuff like that. And instead, I'm seeing that I'm going back to my, usual habits, which probably is just the way I work. And that's it. I got to accept that. But I have this fantasy in my mind that before starting, I would do studies and stuff like that. And instead, I'm not keeping my word with myself, And
no. Can I speak on that really quick, Matteo?
Yeah.
That is my mother-in-law, who is an expert in dealing with people on the broad ranges of autism, which is not me suggesting that you're autistic, but maybe you are, right? But she uses a term a lot that sort of defines human pattern, and oftentimes it's the picture. You have a picture in your head, and you said to yourself, okay, that is the ideal version of what I'm working towards and how I'm going to be conducting myself moving forward, right? But it's not the reality, and somehow that just short circuits your brain. Like, you can't move forward because you go, like, I have a picture, this is the thing that I want, I can't. But here's the thing. Go adjust the picture, right? It's effectively saying, like, go adjust your expectation of this whole thing, because number one, the thing has, the previous version that you were sort of like, hey, I want to build on that. I don't want to keep doing just the same thing that I was doing before. Buddy, it's gotten you that stupid Mr. Freeze book, like, it's gotten you that far, So it is, I'm not making fun of it now. I'm just saying, like, it's gotten you the level of success that you are at already, right? I could say, like, even though you did Mr. Freeze, but that would be a mean thing to say. But like, even, it's gotten you this far. What I'm saying is that instead of looking at this sort of like ultra definitive new thing that you're doing at the beginning, I suspect, and I'll bet you money right now, that by the time you get started, you'll find something. It's just shifting where you're going to find that discovery. Does that make sense? Instead of saying, I'm going to do it all at the beginning, man, it's going to be like right up front, and I'm going to know, I'm going to do all the research, I'm going to fucking whatever, chop down trees, whatever it is that you have in your fucking head. Like, rather than doing it then, still have it in your mind. Hey, I'm going to try to do something a little bit different, but don't immediately just shift it in the timeline. Because I bet you're going to find it. I would bet good money that you're going to find it.
Yeah. Yoda has spoken, and I agree.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's
Well, by the way,
right,
as you were saying, you just inspired me so much that I changed already the image in my head. And this is what I came out with. It's way simpler.
I can't see it because it's blurry. Thank God.
Okay, it's the stick
Jamie,
figure. So
do
that's
not unblur that.
It's a
Just
stick
keep
figure.
it blank, Jamie.
I'm going to show it for the people. So that's my new image. Then the book is going to be all like that. So never going to be disappointed by my performance.
All right, so
it's going to
we're
sell
just gonna not,
like 15
we're
copies.
just
You're
not
good.
going to fucking talk about that anymore. All right, I think that's that. We stretched that as long as we could, right? So
by the way,
we're going to hit the stop button.
Note,
oh shit!
One quick note. I'm noticing. No, I'm being serious now. So I'm noticing that I might have a delay on this podcast because I see your reactions. They come in like 1.5 seconds later. So
but the footage probably won't. I think like that's just like the stream we're on, but your camera
just
and our
putting it
cameras
up there as a note.
He's not wrong. Yeah. What I'm saying now is that okay, we tried this version out because this was the quote unquote more cost effective one. What I've been doing the past 15 minutes is just looking for, hey, this will probably be a great mic as far as XLR is concerned. You guys already have headphones potentially. We're going to have to end up getting this piece of equipment, the one that I can trust and verify that I've dealt with myself. And so all of this stuff is going to go away once this stuff starts coming in. But in the meantime, just be aware there might be a tiny bit. I don't like the fact that Matteo is having to, like, the genius that is your storytelling and your jokes, Shawn. I don't want him to have to react to it because there's a delay because 20 of his neighbors don't want to pay for fiber. Yeah,
I hear you. But I do want to say that no matter how much Matteo will invest in good equipment, he's slow as a human.
Oh, see?
So the equipment, it's not the equipment, it's just Matteo.
Look at this.
And I affect everything around me. So even with a better connection, my computer still going to be slow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
we're at a convention
managed
together.
to drag this bleeding dead horse across the 1 hour mark.
Wait, 20 seconds.
With no
20
legs.
seconds.
No, knock it off. All right, I'm gonna end up.
No.
Well,
that's 15 seconds. Please, don't kill it.
This is the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.